Fabian Paya was our winner at Blackwood, but after this move on Victor Sabo, the stewards decreed that he'd compromised Victor unfairly, and in the final results, Paya was penalised one position. That meant that this man, Estonian Tonis Liegman, was declared our race winner. Hello and welcome to round 7 of the SRA Sim Touring Car Cup. My name's Becky Rose and with me today is Tristan Cliff. And have we got a cracker lined up for you today? This race we have a compulsory pit stop. All drivers have to pit between lap 10 and lap 25. They don't have to work on the car, but they do have to stop it in a pit box and then carry on their way. As we heard from just before the titles, there is some overhanging controversy from last round. Fabian Paya is not here, although he does plan to return again next race. Tonis Liegman, the surprise winner of last round, he is in the grid in the field. Not looking too great after qualifying for him. Doesn't look like he'll be able to repeat that one. Speaking of the grid, let's go take a look at that now. We have Victor Sabo on pole position. Lining up alongside him is Patrick Galaski, the German. And then we've got in third position Hannu Pinola, and alongside him is Mike Bow, who's a surprise improvement really. We haven't seen him up near the sharp end for some time. Chris Redmond desperately trying to hang on to his championship lead after a poor Blackwood in 5th. Stuart Baker in 6th. Jack Green is in 7th. Chris Ramish, a little off form for him, but not doing too bad in 8th position. Bjorn Lorenz in 9th with Sam Hopkinson 10th place. New boy Dan Silver is in 11th. He tried to qualify at Blackwood, it didn't come off for him, but he's here again today for another go. Rob Sherborne in 12th, Henry Beermacki in 13th, Frederick Enerson 14th, Tonis Liegman, our winner last round, all the way down in 15th place. Dustin Dawes in 16th, Attila House 17th, John Brennan and Laka Vigli. They both get on the grid today because we had two drivers earlier, Johnny Picard and David Horvath, who pulled out of the event. They committed disqualifiable offences in qualifying, and then when they figured, well look, we're going to get disqualified, there's two guys that haven't qualified, so they pulled out of the event. So very sporting of them, but obviously a bit of a surprise. We're expecting to see both drivers up near the sharp end today, and they're not going to be competing sadly. Here we can see the sharp end of the Drivers' Championship with Chris Redmond's lead now down to 8 points after the Blackwood race. And Jack Green up to 3rd position, displacing Hannu Pinola by just 1 point. Let's take a look around the track now. We had a request to do the track guide with the Logitech LX6 South City safety car. Here it is. If we get the safety car deployed today, this will be the car that we're seeing. So let's take a look around the track. The start straight is a pretty quick straight, as it has a very fast lead into it. This is London Road. As you go under the bridge, you've got to come off the throttle. If you go flat out, you will hit the wall on the right hand side. And here we've got the biggest overtaking point on the track. This is Beckton Hairpin. Coming out of Beckton Hairpin, you'll occasionally see cars brushing the wall there, but it'll be nothing too serious as we go the short blast down Beckton Road into the St Martin chicane. Got to turn right there as soon as you can, long before you actually reach the apex, and then power up the high street. We saw this particular bit of track at round 1. This is the South City Sprint track we're on now. But we're going to turn off around Station Bend in a different direction. We go left here and stay left, and that's our fast exit back onto the start-finish straight, which is what makes the start-finish such a high-speed straight here.
Speeds of the cars in the round today are a bit slower, but the overall lap time is actually quite comparable. The LX6 is a little bit quicker overall. Top speeds probably around about 125, 130 miles an hour. The minimum speed is in Beckton hairpin. It's just 50 miles an hour. So that's why that's where it provides the most overtaking and braking from.
There's a little bit of a surprise for you now. This is the UKCT car, which is going to be used at the 24-hour race coming up in a couple of months' time. It's not our event, but this is the car that they've actually talked me into driving. They actually entered me without asking. So we'll see what happens there. This is the pit lane. We're using this car today to show us the pit lane. It's a long pit lane here. It has high curbs, and there's braking and accelerating to do on both the pit lane entry and the pit lane exit. On the exit here, you see we've got back onto the throttle. You have to come up the hill, and as you're coming up this hill, you've got to hit the brakes. Otherwise, you're going to brush the wall on the right-hand side, as you can see the driver did just there. On the entrance and exit in the STCC, you don't have to obey the yellow lines unless there is a car there.
Well, I'm looking forward to commentating on you for the 24-hour race, but here we are on the start.
Commentating? Oh no, it'd be so embarrassing. So let's get ready for the start then. This is round 7. We have Victor Sabo in pole position again, alongside Patrick Golaski. The lights go green and we are off. Chris Ramish makes a fantastic start away from the line. Chris Redman gets it bogged down again in the FXO. It does not like starting and pulling away from the line. We have Mike Bauer keeping his 4th position. A little bit of contact between the two UKCT red cars as we go into the first corner. It's Sabo, Pinola, Golaski, Bauer, Ramish, Redman, Baker, Berens, Green and Silver.
On the exit, Sabo just covered his position, and he's actually opened up a little bit of a gap on the exit there from Golaski and Pinola.
A little bit of contact there in the midfield. Barron got a little bit wrong through the chicane, and as Redman tried to...
further back,
Heb's got off at the very back of the field there. That's lucky that he was near the back. If somebody in the midfield had done that, we would have had a bit of a chain reaction all the way down the field. So as they come through to complete the first lap, we have Sabo leading, Pinola 2nd, Golaski in 3rd. Ramish has got up to 4th position from his 8th place start. Redman's overtaken Bauer for 5th place, and Baker's now having a look as well. Baker's coming up the inside of the XRT driver as we come down the main straight. Bauer has made too much of a slow exit coming out of the last corner station bend, and that's cost him 2 positions as we go down the main straight. Golaski is still riding with Pinola in 2nd position. Ramish in 4th, on board with Ramish now as we go into the St Martin chicane. And as you'll see here, you turn right much sooner than the apex is as we come up the hill. And Golaski's clipped the wall. Golaski's gone off. He's spun the car.
He's recovered. He has recovered, but he's going to lose a lot of places. Where's he going to feed back in?
Well, Redman got past him. Baker and Bauer are through. Green is through. Berens is through. And Ennison is now pressuring him. Golaski is down to 9th position. And Green is now attacking Bauer as well for 6th position. So Bauer is on a backwards march after that excellent start. And Ennison is attacking Golaski for 9th. So will Golaski even finish this race in the top 10 after that? That was a very critical error there from the German. And here's the replay of it. Clipped the wall, got it sideways, lost all his momentum. And that's a fairly fast part of the track there. They're coming up, what, 60, 70 mile an hour, something like that?
Something like that, yeah. The accident started actually before he even turned into it, really. He got wide at the first apex, and that just stayed wide, clipped the wall, and the accident happened.
Absolutely, as we're looking now at the battle between Baker and Green. This is forming for what's his 5th position, behind Chris Redman, who's worked his way to 4th. Whereas Chris Ramish we're looking at now in 3rd position, up behind his teammate. Obviously Golaski no longer there, so we've got 2 Muruks in the top 3. Then it's Redman, Baker and Green. Then we've got Bauer. His teammate Berens, he's made a good start. Where did he start from? That was 9th place he started in, wasn't it? So he's done okay. The front of the field has spread out a little bit now after that explosive start.
So Victor Sabo is pulling out probably about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds gap at the moment at the front. Not too many battles. It has really settled down now. Baker's
gone wrong at the chicane. Baker has messed it up on the exit of the chicane, and Silver strikes him. Silver was alongside Vimaki as they came out of the chicane and has contacted with Baker and Sherborne. Hopkinson was blindsided Sherborne there as they came out of the chicane. As Hopkinson swerved aside, Sherborne found himself with a car stationary presented in front of him. It was Vimaki who was spun after contact with Silver when Silver swerved to avoid Baker. As we look now at the battle between sixth position, we've got a 4-car battle going on here between Berens, Bauer, Golaski and Enerson. That was a huge accident there, but with 3 cars becoming very critically involved. We've got Baker, Veer, Mackie and Golaski there striking Mike Bauer, and Sherbon were all going to be much further down the order than they were. This is a replay of John Brennan, who was in 17th place, getting it all wrong at Station Bend, and he's now in 19th place.
The interesting thing to see is how much damage they got from that large pile-up, because they can't pit. Well, the compulsory pit isn't until lap 10, so if they can struggle along there and use the compulsory pit stop and get away with it, they might salvage the race. But if they have to do 2 pit stops, then
yeah, that's race over, isn't it?
It's race over. They'll just lose too much time with this long pit lane and braking in it. And
as we look back at the leaders, this is Sabo leading on lap 6. This is Redman and Ramish in 3rd position. Chris Ramish, 24-year-old American, leading the, I think he's also 24 years old. These two have so much in common. I might be a few years out there of Chris Redman, but a very similar age. We were reflecting before, and they both were into dragster racing, but they have a lot in common. But it's Redman here going to try and pass Chris Ramish. Ramish covers the line as we come into Station Bend. He's gone wide. Ramish has gone wide. That's allowed Chris Redman the opportunity to go through, and Redman's easily going to take the position from that. So Chris Redman moves up to 3rd place and is now going to set about closing the gap down to Hanu Pinola, who is a long way in front here. We've got Sabo and Pinola really have extended up a big lead, so we'll see what Redman can do in terms of closing that gap down. It might take him a few laps to do it, and he might even have to use the pit stops to do it as well. So we'll see what happens there. And we've got Green also moving up the order. He's now coming up behind Ramish as well, as the FXOs try and work their way to the front of this race. So we've got Sabo leading in an XRT. We've got Pinola second in an RB4. His teammate is the second RB4 in the race, so Murak have pretty much got the RB4 class sewn up here today. But then we've got Redman in 3rd position with Green in 5th. So the FXOs. Here's a replay. This is the Baker incident. So Baker spun. You'll see Silva and Veermacki coming out of the chicane side by side there. Silva swerves, catches Veermacki, who ends up stationary. Hopkinson just about.
Yeah, Sherborne was just unsighted, wasn't he?
Until he did. Oh, accident! That's Sabo. Race leader Victor Sabo has collided with John Brennan. And that's it. Pinola's in front. Pinola has taken the lead from Victor Sabo. Sabo caught up there with the back marker, and we're told from race control we've had lag on the server caused by Chris Redman, who's lost his connection to the server. So Chris Redman disconnected. It caused lag. As the lag ended, these 2 cars ended up next to each other, and have ended up having an accident as a result. So Chris Redman has retired from this race. Victor Sabo has ended up in 2nd position, possibly carrying damage. Pinola now leads.
Well, that's completely changed the image of the race, hasn't it? I mean, I thought Chris Redman, who's pretty much the master of mid-race comebacks, was going to take a few laps to catch up, but that won't happen. I thought Victor Sabo was going to run away with the race, but that's not going to happen. It's completely different. I don't even know where I'm coming or going now.
This completely changes race. It changes the championship. This changes the championship as well, because Chris Redman, for 2 races running, is going to end up with no points. We've got Jack Green all over the back of Chris Ramish here to try and take what is now 3rd position. And we've got the receipts, so Quint's leading the Hungarian second. So, Green having a look up the inside of Ramish, but Ramish slams the door just like he did on Redman. I wonder if Green's disconnect now as well. It seemed like a very similar move, but Green hasn't managed to monopolise as Ramish has controlled it through Stadium Bend. We're getting a replay here of Bauer losing it on the chicane, and unfortunately that collects Enerson as well. That they were part of that big battle for what was 6th position, would have now been 5th place.
It's interesting to see the number of cars actually driving around with quite a large amount of damage, obviously just trying to get to that pit window, which is just, what, lap 8 now, is it? So
something like that. Now the pits have just opened just now, so we're on lap 10. John Brennan, incidentally, he pitted before the pit window opened. The damage was just too much after the incident with Victor Sabo, so he's going to have to stop again, and he is now several laps down, so he's likely to be the last finisher here today. Green now now making a move around the outside of Ramish as we come down the back straight. This is the high street. Sabo's pitting straight away, so he obviously wants to get rid of the damage from the accident and get on with his race. So Green now up the inside of Ramish. He's got all right up and inside. He's got the momentum. Green is going to take what will now be second position. So Green into second, Ramish down to third. Golaski pits from the midfield. He's of course trying to recover his position from his incident earlier. But we've got
Ramish could. I was going to say Ramish could dive down the inside now, but
Edison pits.
Going under the bridge, he lost control of the back end, and so he hasn't been able to fight back.
Absolutely, and that's Dustin Dawes pitting. So so Green now has a clear track in front of him, so this is a good opportunity for him to try and close down on Pinola. He should use the pit stop when he's stuck in traffic, basically, when he can't get past someone. So I don't think we'll see Jack Green pitting now. He's going to go. He is pitting! He's pitting already. This is only the 11th lap, but Jack Green is deciding to pit, even though we had a clear track in front of him. Maybe he's taken a conservative strategy. He figures it's the only FXO near the front, and he wants to pit now because he thinks he's got the race sewn up or something. Because if he pits now, of course, he won't have to repair any damage that he receives during the race. He'll just stay out and drive with that damage. Yeah,
but the other side of it is that if he now gets damage in the remaining laps, of which there are quite a few left, then he might penalise himself, and he's going to come out in traffic as well. So I don't know if this is going to work.
That's worrying me because he wasn't as far up the road as Victor Sabo. If he comes out behind this,
look at this gaggle of cars here. He's not going to get out in front of them.
He's going to have to work his way through that gaggle of cars. So I think he Bow getting a little bit wrong there, but I think Jack Green's left himself with too much work to do there. He had a clear bit of track, so I've absolutely no idea where he's going to be on aggregate by the time he's got through the traffic. But I think he has a good chance of winning this race. That might have just taken it away from him, but we'll see as the race unfolds. We're looking at Leekman trying to pass Lorenz for the third position. Leekman has the inside line, but has he got the momentum? Yes, he has, as he edges through. That's Baker pitting in the inset there, so Leekman has taken third position from Bjorn Lorenz. Both having a fantastic. I can't believe Leekman's managed to work his way up to the front so quickly. He was what? He was
ninth on the grid.
Ninth on the grid.
Yeah.
Bjorn Lorenz started ninth. Leekman was 15th.
Really, 15th?
He's worked his way all the way up. So yeah, that's fantastic for Thomas Leekman. So honestly, I mean, maybe we're looking at Leekman for the win now, assuming, of course, that an FXO is going to win this race.
Just showing he's pulling about 80 miles an hour out of the chicane and changing gear at about 7,000 RPM. So not the highest stressed engine, but he's pushing it through that chicane. He really is.
Sabo just ahead of Silver, and that places Sabo went for 5th position, I think. So we've got Pinola, Ramish, Leekman, Lorenz, then Sabo in 5th, Silver in 6th. And Silver isn't doing too bad either. He started in 11th place and he's up to 6th. This is the battle behind. We've got Biamaki there alongside Bauer, trying to take 7th position. So Sabo, 5th place. He's done his pit stop. Where is he in relation to Hannu Pelona? That's the big question, because Sabo's got a few cars to deal with here. I can't understand why he pitted, because he probably took damage with the incident with John Brennan.
Just to keep everybody up to date, the numbers on the overlay at the bottom there go orange for someone who's done their pit stop already, so you can tell where people are and whether or not they're racing for position before.
Sabo's making a move on Lorenz. Sorry to interrupt you, Tristan, but Sabo coming out of Station Bend. He's got the power down earlier and he's up the inside of Bjorn Lorenz. Is he going to do it as we're looking from Sabo's car into Bjorn Lorenz's cockpit? Sabo has the inside line as we go through the bridge. He's done him. Sabo has taken the...
But Sabo can fight back now. And he hasn't. He's chosen not to.
Yeah, Lorenz taking the cautious approach.
Having said that, he's run wide.
Oh, it's having a go. Lorenz having a little look back at Sabo there, but decides better of it. It's a very short run to the chicane here, and if you're not in a very good position and you try to make the pass, then it ends up in a nasty accident. So Bjorn Lorenz taking the cautious option there, and I don't blame him, to be honest. He's having an excellent race. Why spoil it? Racing against somebody who's already done their pit stop.
Quite right, and that chicane is extremely difficult to follow someone closely through. You need to be able to see every inch of Farmco barrier, and if you can't because of someone in front, then accidents happen.
Here's Jack Green in 11th place with Attila Hep just behind him and Sam Hopkinson just in front. So I should think Sam's going to put up much of a fight, seeing as they're both in the same team. Green going around the outside. Oh, actually, no, Sam hasn't. He's stopped at all, even though he's not done his pit stop yet.
But this is the traffic that Green has to work his way through. This is what's going to cost him the race ultimately, or at least a really good position in the race.
Now they're having a little look at Beagley and the FXO ahead of him. It's a bit bold there, considering it's only in an XRT. And Beagley isn't a bad driver, and he's now got Jack Green all over the back of him. As they come up the high street, Green's taken the inside on Bauer. We're looking from Bauer toward Jack Green's car now, as he's clearly got the inside line. As we come into Station Bend, Green has got the position. Although he's got a little bit wide. Is this Bauer trying to fight back at Green here, or has Green's managed to keep on the power? So that's very well done indeed to manage to keep momentum after drifting out wide there. He's managed to just not give Bauer quite enough room to get on the throttle, and that was superbly recovered by Jack Green. At 17, this is the half distance marker. We're looking at Virmaki, Beagley, Green, Bauer and Hopkinson. This is a replay of John Brennan getting the St Martin chicane slightly wrong, but looks like he's pretty much got away with it. The circuit was fairly empty where he was, so no big accident there. Back with the action then, Leekman pits. So that's important. He was third place. Leekman pits, silver pits as well, so Sabo's going to have a clear track now and he can start knocking out some clean laps. We've also got Sam Hopkinson coming into the pits. A lot of drivers choosing to come in at the half distance mark. As we're looking at Green trying to take on Laka Beagley. And I've actually lost, with all the cars coming into the pits just then, I've lost track of what position this is over now. It must be, 7th or 8th or something like that. Green's going to try and take the inside line as we come down to Beckton Hairpin. He's up the inside, he's later on the brakes than Beagley, and he's taken the posision. Excellent.
Yeah, he slowed the car down fine.
Jack Green making quite a late move there. Yeah, quite a late move there on Beagley, but he's done it perfectly well and keeps the position. I'm going to have a look at the scroll bar actually to see where he actually is. Beagley is he's from East Hungary, from a town called, and I'm going to pronounce this wrong, but I'm going to have a go. It's from Niertelek, East Hungary. So there you go. Oh, Leekman's had a penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Tonis Leekman driving too quickly down the pit lane, and he'll now have to do a drive-through all the way down the full length of that long pit lane.
Now, if there's one track you don't want to have a drive-through, it's here with this pit lane.
Yeah, it's a long, long pit lane. There he is entering the pit lane to do that drive-through. While we're talking about Laka Beagley, actually, you know why he actually entered the STCC?
I can't say that I do, no.
His teammate entered it, and he said, I want to prove I'm a better driver than he is. So there's a bit of friendly competition going on there in the WRC team.
I just hope it stays friendly.
His teammate at the moment.
Oh.
I just think got a little bit leery there, didn't he? In fact, that's given Bauer a run at him as we come down the high street. Bauer's having a look around the outside of Laka Beagley.
I think he's got position.
No, he's staying out, and Bauer drives all the way around the outside. Excellent driving there by Mike Bauer. As we look back from the German's car towards Laka Beagley now. And, I still haven't had a chance to have a look at that scroller at the bottom and see what position these guys are even fighting over.
Too many things happening.
No,
this is Sherborne pitting.
Just pitted, yeah. That's Rob Sherborne, the Brit, lives in America, he is British. Pinola pitting from the lead, so Chris Ramish will take the lead here on the 19th lap. I think we're on 19. I'm kind of losing track of everything going on. Beagley's having a look at Bauer now as we come down to the to the St Martin chicane, but he thinks better of it. Wasn't quite.
But on the exit of the chicane,
Green spins. That's Jack Green. Jack Green for 6th position. He spun the car. Will that allow Bauer to get ahead of him? Green was closing down Virmaki for 5th position. Bauer's going to take a position. Will Beagley get through as well as we head up to Station Bend? Beagley making a move around the outside. Virmaki pits ahead of him on lap 20. This is so. Let's have a look. Green does come out ahead of Beagley. Attila Hep pits. Green has kept the position from Beagley, but he's now going to repass Mike Bauer. As we come down the main straight here, this is London Road, as we're about to dip under the bridge. Will Jack Green make a move going into Beckton Hairpin? He's done all his passes here today. He's going to leave it very late if he does. And he does again, extremely late on the brakes there by Jack Green. He just nips out at the very last moment. It doesn't even look like he's about to attack, and just suddenly he pops out and takes Mike Bauer by surprise.
Yeah, I think Jack Green's a bit of a karter in real life, and if there's one thing karting teaches you, it's how to brake.
He is actually. He races quite a lot down the Red Lodge Raceway near his home in Suffolk. And John Brennan is now doing his official pit stop. So, yeah, it was a very karting move actually. But he's retaken. Let me see. Is that 6th position? I think it's Biamaki in 5th, Green in 6th. So he's now going to close down the Murrock car again, the one he'd caught up and was about ready to pass just a few laps ago until he had that spin coming out of the St Martin chicane. Can't really knock him for it this time though, because it's quite a lot of big names have gone off at that chicane today. So we're looking at Beagley battling it out with Mike Bauer. Mike Bauer, the German driver in the XRT. It's definitely our backmarker class here today. The XRT struggling out of these slow corner exits. The FXO just getting the better drive. So we'll see if Beagley can overtake the German.
Just wondering what people are doing about fuel and tyre strategies, because...
Well, you don't really get time to change tyres here. It takes too long, and the time you lose by the tyres being worn or overheated, you can't make up with the pits. It's just not worth it. So they'll be running the same set of tyres throughout the whole race.
But I would imagine that a lot of them will be refuelling, because you've spent so long in the pit lane, the refuelling takes so little time in comparison. I would have thought that people would have tried to run the car as light as possible. So we might, in the next couple of laps, see, you never know, 1 or 2 people running out of fuel. We've seen it before.
Well, I think about half the drivers were saying that it doesn't, the time it takes to refuel doesn't make up for what it costs you too much compared to what you gain by running light. Beagley's coming into the pits now, so Bauer's going to retain his 6th position. We'll see if Beagley can overtake by doing a faster pit stop. We're getting a replay here of Silva almost taking out the race leader, Chris Ramish. Silva going very wide at Beckton hairpin, and Chris Ramish lucky to get away with that, really. And it's the first time we've really seen Chris Ramish since the start, because he's been kind of out on his own. He hasn't yet pit stopped. That's his teammate in the background there. That's Hannu Pinola coming in. So as Chris Ramish comes into pit, Hannu Pinola will retake the lead. And Hamza Pinola leading over Victor Sabo. And that's probably, I think Ramish will come out in 3rd place. We'll have to say, I think he's going to come out in 3rd. I think he's a little bit ahead of Biamaki and Green and Co. That's Bauer getting it wrong. Bauer upside down on the high street. Bauer has got it all wrong, and this is moments later. Jack Green trying to overtake Bjorn Berens as Bjorn Berens dives for the pits. And we're under safety car here at South City Classic today. We've got the safety car deployed for Mike Bauer's accident on the exit of the St Martin chicane.
There's still a chance that someone could run into them before they realise that the safety car's out. Don't think they will, but...
Well, there's yellow flags out there as well. Dustin Dawes pits, so now I think all drivers in this race have done their compulsory pit stop. Here is Mike Bauer. Got it upside down. His teammate got it upside down at round 4. So something of a tradition being carried on here today. So here is the Logitech South City LX6 safety car that we saw earlier in our track guide. The drivers behind him at the moment will be waved past after the accident, and then as Hannu Pinola, the leader, comes up behind the safety car, then they'll stop overtaking the car and they'll all form up behind Hannu Pinola, basically. But then we get the safety car so often in the STCC, I just think it doesn't need much explaining now.
But it's going to close up a lot of the field. People like Jack Green, who haven't made quite the right decisions. They've clipped a few walls, lost a bit of time here and there. It could save their race.
It could, but the interesting thing here is because the shortness of the track. What's going to be interesting is where the back markers are in the queue of cars. So we'll have Hannu and Hannu Pinola and Victor Sabo. They were next to each other on track, I think. So they're going to be 1st and 2nd. But how many back markers will be between those 2 cars and 3rd place, which is going to be Chris Ramish and Jack Green in 4th? And actually, just getting the caption come up on screen reminded me there, of course, there are other cars on the lead lap as well. So Glasky could come back into this race. Glasky, Ennison, Baker, Niegman, Beagley and Silver, so any one of those guys could still win this race. So we're looking now, that's Spinola leading, Sabo the black car in second, and then who have we got in third? I think that's Veermaki. Can't really see terribly well from here. As we get another camera view, we'll take another look, but I think that's Veermaki. We've got Hep as the fourth car. And then we've got, is that Sherman? I'm looking too far back into the focal length of this camera, but I'm not sure where Jack Green looks like he's about the 7th or 8th car back there.
He's a long way back.
You just see him at the very back of the view now.
Yes, yeah. That's right.
So I don't think Green is going to be able to do something about this, because let's see, we're going to go Green probably somewhere around lap 28. That'll be 7 laps left to go. We'll have to dispatch all those back markers, close the gap down, and then pass 2 superb drivers. Here we are. That's Veermaki, Hep, Hopkinson. That's Ramish in third, the blue car. Then Green has got a couple of back markers between him and Ramish. And then it's basically the rest of the top 10. So there's Green, the red car there, that's Green. Then you've got Galaski, the yellow and black car, in 5th right behind him. Then Ennison, backmarker, Baker, Leigman, Beagley, Silver. So we're going to have a bit of a battle in the top 10, but we'll probably end up focusing on the battle between the leaders. We've got Hannu Pinola and Victor Sabo right at the front of this train. Some of the drivers starting to weave now as their tyres are cooling off too much for them. But we're going to have a sprint to the finish here. It's going to be 7 lap sprint to the finish, I think. We've still got 17 cars in this race. Dustin Dawes is 2 laps down. John Brennan is 4 laps down.
So those people that can keep their tyre temperatures up at the start are going to have a big advantage braking here for Becton Hairpin.
Absolutely. So when you come off the safety car period, so I've done it racing the GTR version of the FXO, and you come off the safety car period, the car is bottoming out, the tyres are sagging on all the bends, you just don't have anything like the performance you had before the safety car period, and that's why you see the drivers weaving about. But the thing is, in order to actually generate heat, you have to really throw it, and if you throw it too hard, it's very easy to throw it into a wall.
That's right. So you lose all your rhythm as well. Before the car was handling pretty much the same lap to lap, whereas this time it's all going to be new, and you've got to go into the corner not knowing quite where you've got to brake.
Doing a race restart. Yeah, I think it's harder doing a race restart than it is doing an actual race start, a normal race start. So the safety car's coming in now. Hannu Pinola is the pace car, provided he doesn't pass the safety car before the pit lane entrance. So he can choose the speed now.
And he can go when he wants.
Yeah, he's in control and he's in an RB4, so he'll be going as slow as he possibly can. And he's bolted. He's bolted. Sabo's going with him, but the RB4 just has better drive from the low speed. So Pinola bolts, Sabo follows, Ramish is third. They're all pretty secure where they are. Then we've got, looking back, we're going to have, where is Green? I'm looking for Green now, Green and Ramish. Green's actually passed John Brennan, the back marker, before the start-finish line. Jack Green overtook the UKCT blue car of John Brennan before they got to the start-finish line. That is a disqualifiable offence if the stewards catch him doing that, and I think they have. Then Green is going to, that's it, that'll nullify his result.
If they haven't found it, if they didn't spot it,
we've counter it.
If they didn't spot that, then we've just brought their attention to it.
You can counter it, or potentially counter it by doing a voluntary drive-through penalty. A lot of the penalties in the STCC, the stewards will say, well, okay, look, you elected to do a drive-through, we'll negate the penalty. That applies for basically a lot of the racing offences. You know, if you commit an offence passing someone, you let them back through, and they'll negate the penalty. It doesn't really apply to his telepity.
But for that to happen, Jack's got to realise that he made the mistake.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a bit deceptive because there's a line near the start of that straight. Basically, when the grid starts, there's a line, and there's also the actual start-finish line, which is checkered on the circuit. So that can be a bit deceptive, just because of the paintwork that's on the tarmac there. So we're looking at the battle between the two leaders. This is Pinola leading Sabo. Pinola's managed to pull out a little bit on the cold tyres, but Sabo seems to be settling into the rhythm now and trying to slowly ease Pinola back in 10th by 10th as we enter these last few
5 laps to go, starting now, I think.
We're getting a replay here of Sherborne getting it all wrong at Beckton Hairpin, and John Brennan didn't know where to go there, and just barely tapped it there at the side. That was Sherborne getting it all wrong under braking there. Back with the lead as Saba has closed up on Pinola, I reckon. Sliding a little bit through Beckton Hairpin though. Looks like he was drifting around the course. He's trying to do that Japanese sport, I think, without having the back of the car out.
Oh, no comment on that one.
So Pinola leads. Sabo is second. These two have been like that since an incident earlier on in the race where Sabo collided with John Brennan after problems on the server caused by Chris Redmond disconnecting. Nothing to do with it wasn't Chris's fault, but he lost his connection to the server, caused an issue where we had lag on the server, and as it came back to normal, Sabo and Brennan found themselves too close together and spun out.
Victor Sabo is
frighteningly close now. We could be seeing a move here as Sabo is lining Pinola up for the pass. We're coming into Beckton Hairpin. He's not close enough at the moment. Down Beckton straight towards St Martin's. He won't be making an attempt here, but he will be trying to line him up for a move. Coming out of the last corner onto London Road, the start-finish straight. This is the but Sabo got the exit wrong there, didn't he? Just didn't quite carry enough speed, wobbled it a little bit, and that's allowed Pinola to open up another tenth or so. Pinola still leads. Sabo trying to get into that slipstream as we come down London Road. It's just not quite close enough.
Yeah, he's got to concentrate not on overtaking or beating him. He's just got to be consistent and just ease in closer and closer and closer, and not think about trying to overtake him yet.
Closer to the car in front. Yeah, that's the problem though. As you get closer to the car in front, you start looking at the car rather than the empty track ahead of you.
And you get unsighted.
What you've got is the rear wing of the car in front, and it's incredibly difficult to do when you get to this kind of distance behind us. As we're on lap 32, just 3 laps plus this one to go. Pinola leading Victor Sabo. There is no FXO in sight of winning this race. We are on tarmac, and we're not going to see an FXO take the victory.
He's dropped back a little bit in the chicane again, and he's run wide through Station Bend. It's all tense.
I think Pinola's kind of got himself into rhythm now. We're looking at Green and Ramish. Green has lined Ramish up beautifully. He's into the slipstream now. He's ducked up to the inside. Ramish covers it. He goes to the outside. Green sweeps past Chris Ramish to take third position down London Road. As we head onto the bridge, he's already in front of Ramish. He's clearly got the better exit speed out of the previous corner. And as we head down to Beckton Hairpin, Green is in front of.
But Ramish is fighting back. He's just dived down.
Ramish goes to the inside line. And it's through, but Green switchbacks him. Green gets onto the inside line as we come down to St Martin's. Green is going to take third position from Ramish.
That just demonstrates what a good job Green was doing earlier in the race, slowing the car down in that type of manoeuvre. Ramish got it slightly wrong, ran wide.
Fantastic driving from the young Brit, and a well-deserved third position. This is a replay here of Sherborne getting it wrong on the exit of St Martin's. So St Martin's claims yet another casualty. But yeah, that was fantastic by Jack Green, and we'll have to see what happens in the stewarding later on. We are incidentally getting a message from the stewards that there is more than just Johnny Picard and David Horvath, who committed disqualifiable offences during the qualifying heats. But they're currently going through the data and confirming it, and will be making an announcement later on. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that before the end of the show. We might have to defer you to Auto Sim Sport, but it's Hanno Pinola who's going to be taking the victory as we come up to Station Bend now. This is the last corner. Hanno Pinola about to win his second STCC feature race for the Murrock Racing team. The young Finn has done it again, and this time he's done it on tarmac. Congratulations, Hanno Pinola, you have won! You have beaten the FXOs, you've taken them all on, you've beaten the mighty Victor Sabo in an XRT. You've done it, lad.
Absolutely fantastic victory for Pinola there. Sabo is a very, very quick driver, and I would have thought in theoretically the quicker car around here actually, but fantastic driving.
Yeah, deserved victory. I feel a little bit sorry for Victor Sabo because he lost the race on an unfortunate incident. We're getting a replay here of Ramish on the last lap, getting a little wrong through St Martin's, but not actually spinning the car. as has happened to others coming through there. So Hannu Pinola takes the win, Victor Sabo second, Green is third, Ramish is fourth, and I'm afraid I've long since lost track of who was fifth. We'll let the results come up on screens. So yeah, going back to that announcement, basically the stewards are going through the qualifying footage now. If we can't give you an announcement before the end of the show, because we've only got a couple of minutes left, we'll follow it up in Auto Sim Sport magazine on the next magazine to come out. That's Bjorn Berens getting it all wrong on that narrow pit lane entry. Surprising actually, after all the trouble we've had with steward intervention and slowdown laps recently, but I think he'll get away with that. That's clearly accidental as he tried to enter the pit lane.
Yeah, the vicious curves bit him.
Oh, what a race! There's so much action in that race. I think I might have to watch it again just to do the other half of the action. So, Ramish Victor Golaski, who worked his way back up to fifth after the earlier incident. Fredrik Henderson recording a solid
action-packed race for Henderson, certainly.
Absolutely. Leekman in 8th, Beagley up to 9th from 19th on the grid, so he did very well indeed. Silva a solid 10th in his first STCC future race. Hepton 11th, Biamaki, Hopkinson and Berens. Dustin Dawes 15th and 2 laps down. Sherborne 16th and John Brennan fair way back by the end, unfortunately. Mike Bauer retired in 18th. And Chris Redburn, no points again for the guy who is still, I think, taking that result into account. I think he'll just about have the championship lead, providing the results change too much in the steward announcement we're expecting. So driver of the race for you, Tristan?
That's an incredibly difficult one. I mean, I was just looking at Attila Hepp. He was down in 18th place on the first lap, and he ended up 11th, was it? Something like that.
That wasn't bad.
That was a good comeback. Jack Green, he was what, 7th on the grid. That was a good comeback by him, but I think Hannu Pinola has to have it because he didn't put a foot wrong. He took advantage of a couple of racing incidents, admittedly, but it was classic driving by him, and to get the RB4 to the race victory, you can't really do much better than that on tarmac.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's a special moment. The RB4 has defeated the mighty FXL on tarmac. That will go down in STCC history. Fantastic. For me, it has to be Hannu Pinola as well, simply because he's taken the win in an RB4, which shouldn't happen. It just shouldn't happen.
Although I think if Green and Redman hadn't had the races that they had, I think we'd have seen an FXO much closer to the front.
Quite possibly, but you can't take away. You can't say he won it purely on chance. Formation racing is full of ifs, and no race is more ifs than a compulsory pit stop race.
Totally agree.
All credit to the young thing. All credit, and that's his second win as well. Don't forget, the guy has talent. Anyway, I think that's about all we've got time for in this race broadcast. We will bring you that stewards announcement in Auto Sim Sport magazine, and also again in next month's broadcast. So, from me, Becky Rose, it's ta-ra.
And from me, Tristan, it's goodbye. See you next time.